Oh, sweet Jim O'Grady.
Okay, I began my illustrious career in journalism in the Bronx, where I toiled as a hard-boiled reporter for the RAM, the student newspaper at Fordham University. The RAM, all right. One day I'm walking toward the campus center, and out comes the elusive Dean McGowan, architect of a policy to replace Fordham's traditionally working to middle-class students with wealthier, more prestigious ones. So I whip out my notebook and I go up to him and I say, Dean McGowan, is it true that Fordham University plans to raise tuition substantially above the inflation rate? And if so, wouldn't that be a betrayal of its mission? And he looks at me like I'm a misaligned seam in one of his suits. And he says, listen up, punk. And then right then, out of the corner of my eye, comes this blur, which becomes this figure in a Lone Ranger's mask holding a cream pie, which becomes the guy standing next to me mashing a cream pie into Dean McGowan's face. And then runs away. The dean has cream all over his face. So I give him a moment. And I said, would you care to comment about this latest attack? He says, yes, I would care to comment. Fuck you. So I race back to the newsroom with my scoop, and I find the editor, Jim Dwyer, a senior. He will go on to win a Pulitzer Prize, that's true. He's this big guy, and I tell him what I've seen, and I pitch it as a story. And he goes, Dean McGowan, that guy's a dick, write it up. So I'm banging out my story, and I know it's good. And then I start to make it better. By adding an element of embellishment. Reporters call this making shit up. And they recommend against crossing that line. But I had just seen the line crossed between a high-powered dean and assault with a pastry. And I kind of liked it. So the first thing I did was I gave the figure a name. I called him Pie Man, capital P, capital M, and I described him as a cape-wearing masked avenger, though in fact he had been capeless. And I said that as he exited the scene, he clicked his heels in rakish glee. I wasn't done. I gave him a catchphrase in Latin. Because Fordham's a Catholic school and we all thought Latin was classy. I said he cried out, ego sum non an bestia, which means I am not an animal, which makes no sense. It's from the movie Spartacus. Kirk Douglas oils up his chest and he yells it at the Romans. I needed something. So I finished my story and I hand it to Dwyer and he reads it and he goes, Pie Man, I love it, page 1. And that's how the first line got crossed. A few days later I get a letter. It says, Dear Jim, nice story, good details. If you want to see me again in action, be on the steps of Duane Library at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Signed, Pie Man. So I was there with a photographer from the RAM. And sure enough, out comes Sheila Beale, student body president. Sheila was different from me and all the other flannel shirt wearing, part-time job working students at Fordham. Sheila was well-bred. Sheila had school spirit. Sheila was the kind of student Dean McGowan wanted more of. Although rumor had it, he got plenty of her in his office on his desk. But, hey, that's just a rumor, please don't go spreading that. I myself would never say that. But the fact was, she had collaborated with the dean to ban all outdoor drinking on campus. The infamous no more beer at barbecues rule. Because Sheila Beale thought drinking in public was in poor taste. So I think you know what happened next. Pie-Man emerged from behind the late-night library drop box, made his delivery, and fled away, saying, "Ego sum, no vista." Or, at least that's what it said in my story in the newspaper the next day, which ran with a photo of Pie-Man trailing a scarf, a cape, actually, behind his neck, doing this. And that's what made him a sensation. People started dressing like him and quoting him in class. The Ram ran 5 major stories about Pie-Man throughout the semester, all of them by me. And toward the end of this run, I was out at a bar, and I noticed Angela from my Brit Lit class in the corner with her friends. And now, Angela and I have been flirting for 2 months. Or, I have been flirting with her. And with such nuance that there was a question about whether she knew I existed. So I saw her there, and I made a mental note to do nothing about it. And I went to the bar to buy a round. And I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was her. And she said, "Jim, we were just talking, and it seems like you always know when Pie-Man is going to hit and where. So we were wondering, are you Pie-Man?" And I knew by the way she said it, I knew that if I said yes, she would have sex with me. And wasn't I really Pie-Man? For having brought him into existence, didn't she only know about him because of me? But in fact, she had asked me a straightforward question that came with a straightforward answer. In fact, I did not know Pie-Man. As far as I knew, I was not Pie-Man myself. I didn't know him. I'd never seen him out of costume. So I said to her, "Yes, Sheila. I am Pie-Man." And she said, "Good. That's what I was hoping you'd say. Now buy me a beer and tell me all about it."